Hello, this is Mamta Patane. Welcome to the session on democratic decentralization and analysis. Mahatma Gandhi rightly said, independence must begin at the bottom. Thus, every village will be a republic or panchayat having full powers. Local government contributes to the strengthening of democratic values. The grassroots of democracy are found at the local level because it is here that people deal with the problems of immediate and direct importance. Democracy will be meaningless unless the people are allowed to decide what they want. Policies and programs can best be conceived and managed by the people at the local level according to their needs. People's participation in the development process is the foundation of democracy. Political leadership is also developed at the level of local governments. Now, what is local government? According to the Encyclopedia of Britannica, local government means authority to determine and execute measures within a restricted area, inside and smaller than the whole state. G.M. Harris defines the local government as government by the people themselves through freely elected representatives. Local government is at the bottom of a pyramid of governmental institutions with the national government at the top and intermediate government. Now, why local government is important, or what is the importance of local government? Local government is one way of reconciling citizens' desire for self-management and meeting their needs. It provides opportunity to the citizens to have free, intelligent and active participation in the government of their local area. It creates a personal interest in the personal affairs of the community, and it also serves as a means for political education of the community. It also serves an ideal channel for communication. Local governments help in bringing the people close to the plans and programs of the nation. The desires and aspirations of the local people are communicated to the higher government. People in the remote areas of the country express their desires through the local governments. It is easier for the central and the provisional governments to communicate with the people through the institutions of local government. It also helps in the utilization of local resources. Local governments are better equipped to manage local resources. Mobilization of local finances is better through it. Manpower utilization at the local level is managed better through the local governments. Program implementation by the local government helps in reducing delay and is cost effective. Panchayati Raj in the pre-independence period constituted a traditional system of panchayats, wherein assembly of 5 senior members of the village constituted a panchayat. There were caste panchayats. Similarly, in 1687, the Madras Municipal Corporation came to be formed on the British model, which specifically had towns nominated local bodies. In 1870, resolution for town-based local bodies, which is referred to as the Lord Mayor's resolution, was passed. Local self-government, the municipal functions, Lord Ripon's resolution of 1882. Now, Lord Ripon, who is regarded as the father of local self-government, his famous resolution on local self-government is very important to be referred. In the 1930s and 40s, Gandhiji's Gram Swaraj, that is to be considered as village republics, was very, very pertinent to mention. Self-reliant but interdependent. Gram Swaraj idea was in the forefront of independence movement. Indian Constitution Directive Principles Part 4 of the Article 40 defined panchayats as units of self-government. In 1986, 64th Constitutional Amendment Bill introduced on 15th May in Lok Sabha, which was defeated in Rajya Sabha. In 1992, Lok Sabha passed the 73rd and the 74th Constitutional Amendment Bills on 22nd December. In 1993, 73rd Amendment Act 1992 comes into force and 24th April 1993. Similarly, 74th Amendment Act 1992 comes into force on 1st June 1993. There are 2 important committees which needs mention as far as local self-governments are concerned. B.R. Mehta Committee 1957 and Ashok Mehta Committee 1978. B.R. Mehta Committee was a team for the study of community projects and National Extension Service, which is there for strengthening panchayats for community development programs. It specifically recommended a 3-tier structure of local governance at the local level. Ashok Mehta Committee 1978 recommended for a two-tier system for Panchayati Raj institutions and district as the basic unit of administration. Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and West Bengal passed legislations in conformity with the Ashok Mehta Committee. In the latter part of 50s, three-tier panchayats came into existence as development agencies. Panchayati Raj, a process from Gram Sabha, that is village assembly, to the Lok Sabha, that is People's Assembly, Parliament, was a subject of debate. 73rd and 74th Amendment Acts are the milestones in the history of local governance. Panchayats and municipalities became institutions of self-government in Part 9 and Part 9A of the Constitution. By April 23, 1994, May 31, 1994, states passed conformity legislations. Panchayats extended to Schedule 5, that is tribal areas, in 1996. There are 29 subjects which were suggested for transfer to the panchayats under the Schedule 11, to name a few: agriculture, including agriculture extension, land improvement, implementation of land, minor irrigation, animal husbandry, dairy and poultry, fisheries, social forestry, farm forestry, minor forest produce, and other 29 subjects which are mentioned in the Schedule 11. Now you might be keen into knowing what are the salient features of the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Acts 1992. Panchayats and municipalities will be institutions of self-government according to these amendments. Basic unit of democratic system, Gram Sabhas, that is villages, and ward committees in municipalities comprising all the adult members registered as voters. It also recommended the three-tier system of panchayats at village, intermediate, block, taluk and mandal, and district levels. Smaller states with population below 2 million, only two tiers. Seats had to be reserved at all levels and filled by direct election. Panchayati Raj, municipalities as the third tier of governance on India's federal structure. The structure goes at the local village level. We have village panchayats at the lower level, block taluk panchayats at the block level, and zilla panchayats or zilla parishads at the district level. In the urban local scenario, we have nagar panchayats at the lowest level, municipal councils at the intermediate level, and municipal corporations at the top level. We have Gram Sabha, that is the village assembly, at the local level in the rural areas, and ward committees for municipal areas. Similarly, autonomous councils for tribal areas. Autonomous councils are created in some states like West Bengal, Bihar, Assam for administration and development of creation certain areas with special features, but they also have statutory local bodies. Seats are to be reserved for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Chairpersons of the panchayats at all levels also shall be reserved for SCs and STs in proportion to their population. 1/3 of the total number of seats are to be reserved for women, and 1/3 of the seats reserved for SCs and STs also reserved for women. 1/3 offices of the chairpersons at all levels to be reserved for women. It also recommended uniform 5-year term and elections to constitute new bodies to be completed before the expiry of the term. In the event of dissolution, elections are to be held within 6 months. Independent Election Commission in each state for superintendence, direction and control of electoral rolls. In each state, a finance commission to determine the principles on the basis of which adequate financial resources would be ensured for panchayats and municipalities. As far as funds are concerned, budgetary allocation for state governments, revenue of certain taxes, collect and retain the revenue it raises, central government programs and grants were few of the resources from where funds are to be generated. Panchayats to prepare plans for economic development and social justice in respect of 29 subjects listed in the 11th schedule already mentioned. District Planning Committee to consolidate the plans prepared by the panchayats and the municipalities. Article 243G, it specifically describes the powers, authority and responsibilities of panchayats. Subject to the provision of the Constitution, the legislature of the state may, by law, endow the panchayats with such powers and authority as may be necessary to enable them to function as institutions of self-government, and such law may contain provisions for the devolution of powers and responsibilities upon panchayats, at the appropriate level, subject to such conditions as may be specified wherein with respect to preparation of plans of economic development and social justice, and also the implementation of schemes for economic development and social justice as the case may be. Local governments have become important in the political and administrative setup of the developing countries. There are a number of success stories which indicate that local governments have the capacity to fulfill the needs and aspirations of the people. People participate in the development process and is very important, and local government ensures this to a large extent. But still, there are a number of weaknesses of Panchayati Raj institutions. To name a few, identity crisis is very, very important. The panchayats or the local level bodies are still fighting for the identity they should get. Proxy participation, which specifically refers to the Pradhan Pati syndrome. Over politicization of panchayats, system of overloads and resilience, centralization of power, recommendations which are not mandatory in nature, Panchayati Raj institutions with a backseat driving status, inadequate financial resources, and it's basically a silent revolution instead of self-reliant one. So it is important to mention that people need to be properly mobilized to shoulder the responsibility of governing themselves. Strengthening the third stratum of governance is very, very important. Holistic approach towards democratic decentralization and governance includes status for stability and continuity, timely elections, representation of weaker sections, and it should be connoting the 4 F's, that is functions, functionaries, funds and freedoms. Thank you so much.